I think it turned out to be a wild success. I love doing it. It was great, and you chimed in. I think it was a year after.
Right.
You were there with us. I think we had done it 1 year, and then it was actually myself and the Bronc
Yeah.
did it. I think the first year. I think that was
Well,
2003.
three. Yeah, and I came in 2004,
And 2004 was you and Mikey T and
and
the
I
Bronc.
already felt like it had been going on for years. It seemed like an institution already. And through the years, we've gone through so many clips from the year that we could have done 3 shows.
Yeah.
And things always are up and down. It's sinusoidal, it ebbs and tides, and all sorts of stuff. So now we kind of have a little bit of a slimmed down show this year.
Yeah.
But
It's a little crisper.
The 12 bits are, well, and we like to always get the people who are involved at the this undisclosed location so they can share with us too, because the food and the drink is just far beyond compare.
Oh yes, full bar, full boat, full shrimp. Yes,
Right.
we're rocking.
So the thing is, the order of the day is do not call today because we're not taking live calls. We're going to enjoy all these best clips from the last year while we celebrate our mothers and
Yes.
our extended mothers and families and wives and kids and the whole bit, and everybody's going to have a great time. So I happen to be with the fellow who is in clip number 1
Oh, good.
last night and
Yeah.
alerted him to the fact that, hey, we're kicking off with you, so you better be tuned in so you can hear it. So why don't we start with this? Chris, you kick us off and introduce this first bit, please.
Back in September, we were chatting with our own Billy Velvet. We're talking about the Malibu Car Show, and he called, but he commended your daughter, Jenny, on the design work she did on the logo used for that year's trophy and T-shirts. And when I asked the probing question about other help, Billy answers in a way only the Velvet Master can pull off well. Let's check it out right here on the MotorMouth Radio Mother's Day Extravaganza.
We laughed then. When we pulled the clip, we laughed. When I explained to him what it was last night, he laughed at the tape. Yes, so let's hear the Velvet Master right here.
Yes, and I want to do a shout out because you won't, but I want to thank Jennifer Lynn Studios for taking my vision of what the theme was and turning it into what it turned out to be a beautiful T-shirt design.
Yeah, let me elaborate a little. We did the photo shoot for the shirt, and then my daughter wanted to see the pictures, of course, so I showed them to her, and she says, "Well, what do we, what's this gonna be used for?" I said, "Well, for the shirt and the trophies and the plaques and all." You go, oh, yeah, what? Hang on. And so she said, well, this has to be, manipulated, and who's going to do that? And I said, well, Bill has a guy.
Nice job.
He's got a guy. So Jennifer said, look, can I play with it in Photoshop? I said, yeah, do all you want. Knock yourself out. I said, I'll even send it to Bill. And Bill liked it enough to go with it. So, yeah.
She nailed Chris, she nailed it, Chris. She even the colors that she chose for the shirts I'm going with, I split the order, hunter green and like a honey mustard.
Yeah.
And then the beauty of it was she provided a photographer who I took to lunch that day. Her staff photographer was on site.
Right. Billy, just out of curiosity, is the photographer in on this conversation?
It's very good. Very good, Detective Switzerland.
That was the clue that tipped you off. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was funny then. It's funny now. As only Billy can deliver a line. It was great. So right, and Bill asked me last night if Jenny's on board this year to get back into service and do the design for this year. So we did speak about some of the things that we want to do, that Bill wants to do for the theme and whatnot, which of course we can't disclose. That's always super secret.
Right.
And Jen is on board, so we'll do it again this year.
Sounds good. Right here on the Mother's Day Extravaganza, the MotorMouth Radio Spectacular. Like Ray says, every year we do this because we couldn't get a guest. So we decided to put together the best bits of 2020. I was almost going to say like 2015, 2016,
jeez.
2023, 2024.
Wow.
So we have a classic coming up right now, Ray. Why don't you show it off?
I wanted to say, another one of our favorites, and another one of our one of the guys that we've come to know and love and grow with, and I do a Thursday night show with MatcoMan Brian.
I also just want to interrupt you 1 second. I want to thank MatcoMan Brian for doing the show for me last week. He did a spectacular job. I just wanted to say thank you to him.
Yes,
Big shout out to MatcoMan Brian. Yes,
he had a good time, and he will be back sooner than later. I'll tell you that.
Good. So
back in September again, MatcoMan was always, we always talk about tools and things, funny things that happen on the tool truck. And actually, I had Kenny Wessel wrenching with Kenny in the studio with me that day. You hear his voice on the track. I forgot all about that. And Kenny was going to, hopefully we're going to get him on soon, but it looks like timing screwed us up. But anyway, he's our in-house tool professional, and he sees some weird stuff on the truck, like I said. But when a customer complained about a test light that wasn't working properly, Brian went into full-on diagnostic mode to get to the bottom of this guy's problem. So what was it that Joe D always says about electrical problems? Well, I'll tell you that if you don't remember right after we listen to MatcoMan Brian flesh it out. Here we go.
Got it.
Well, as long as you have ground, a good ground, just not the wrench laying on the floor, your test light will work.
Brian, tell him about that. Tell him like what Brian's.
I had a guy, and one thing I do love about my job, and I love to help people. I like to be a problem solver. There's a tool to do the job right. I understand everybody can't afford the right tool to do the job, but there is. But I had a guy, he bought a test light, old school test light, had a bulb, nothing fancy, none of this digital stuff or anything like that. And he comes back and says, man, this thing doesn't work. And I was like, okay, well, maybe the bulb broke. So I changed the bulb. I said, it doesn't work. So I said, all right, well, show me what you're doing. And walked into the car, and the car's sitting there, and he has a door open. And he hooks the wrench. He hooks the test light to a wrench that's sitting on the carpet of the floor of the car. He goes, I have this to ground, it's hooked to metal, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I had to at least try to explain that he has to hook it to the ground, to the car. Just because it's hooked to metal, it's not hooked to ground. He was halfway there, but, these are things... even the simplest, you got to understand how it works.
Yes, absolutely.
You can't make that up.
And not everybody's going to understand it. This industry is not for everybody.
No.
It is for people like us.
Yeah,
for select people.
Certainly not for everybody. That's for darn sure. Absolutely. That was MatcoMan Brian at his finest. He can teach. And he can, as well as he can backhand slap you into submission. And that saying that Joe always said he wanted to make a T-shirt out of was, what part of a bad ground don't you understand?
Exactly.
And this is as bad of a bad ground as you'll ever get.
That's hysterical. I love it. With a wrench on a carpet, and the guy thinks that it's ground.
It's connected to metal. Yeah. Well, that goes to show you and we talk about this a lot, the basic things that people never learned about different parts of working on things, and electronics is one of the most confused and not known about subjects, I think. So
it's so funny because a little knowledge can really be dangerous, and it's something that that's a flag this show has been flying for years.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's the hosts or the listeners or anyone else that works on their car, sometimes a little knowledge can be dangerous.
But I'll tell you, there's another little thing that's been getting pretty dangerous lately that we've been talking about, and that's going to be this next clip. So why don't you tell us about it, Chris?
Oh, talking about dangerous. Boy, oh boy, right here on the MotorMouth Radio Mother's Day Extravaganza, all you have to do is ask a simple question, and you might just get a lengthy rant from your co-host. Detective Switzer is pointing right now.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time this has happened, and all I had to do this time was to ask Ray how long a road trip took him. Well, let's get into that right here on the Mother's Day Extravaganza here on MotorMouth Radio.
Here we go.
How long did it take you to get from Long Island to Rhinebeck?
I didn't watch the clock. Hey, you know what? in the Romeo Club, you throw your watch away. What's time? Time is a conception. It's something that the people who are under the stone of the man have to live by. We live by no clocks. No. We live by no stones. We do what the hell we want when we want. We're the Romeo Club, damn it. That's right. Remember that. You remember that.
Those words of wisdom.
See, I'm learning. I'm growing as I'm evolving and growing and learning. And this is how we do it. This is how we roll. You know what I'm saying? It's how we roll.
I'm expecting a time, and I get this deep, meaningful.
I guess it was about an hour and change.
Proverb.
It was like an hour and change. I don't know.
An hour and change.
I don't know.
I just, you know what I got? I got the first taste of dealing with me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, and your family's going to hate you for it. See, mine is okay. They're cool with it. They're all right. They're like, hey, having a good time? Good for you. You deserve it.
I ask a simple question, I get a speech.
Yes, you did. And listen, that goes both ways.
I'll tell you, it's so funny. You know I do it on a regular basis, but to hear you rant is a joy to behold.
Well, and the one thing I didn't lay out in that clip was what the Romeo Club means, and we've named it the Retired Old Men Eating Out, because we typically take up diner space, and now being retired, that's what I just did it 2 days ago with Rick and Cliff. We were out in the diner and having a good time. And
how long were you in the diner, sitting in a booth for how long? Don't go into the Romeo speech, pal.
No, we didn't do a 3-hour thing because we actually had other things we had to do. Oh. So it was like an average lunch, maybe plus a little bit. We just kind of hung a little longer. And, it's a variable thing, Chris. It's a variable thing because when you don't have a watch, it can be, life is variable. It just, life is now a potentiometer. So.
My uncle said, who has also retired many, many years, he said that his clock doesn't have a second hand, not the hand the hand that measures the minutes. Doesn't have a minute hand.
Okay.
Just has an hour hand. That's it.
Right. Yeah. Another one. Well,
so that is all right.
So now we go back to about a year ago in May 21st. Our good friend Dave Hayes from Hot Rod Innovations, they make that really cool. The compression style carburetor return spring that I've been using on my car now for a number of years. Right. So we had Dave on, and we wanted to. He's building a top flight show car. It ends up. I didn't know that. So when I asked him about the inspiration for the project, he explains the familial connection that it just had to be admired. So. This would be a great Father's Day clip, but it's good for Mother's Day too, because it shows the bond between, a son and his parent. So let's listen to Dave explain it right here.
I love this.
So
one.
Dave, before the break, we were talking about all the great combinations of this fantastic throttle spring. And you told us in the past that the inspiration came from someone very close to you. Would you elaborate on that, please?
I am building a car, that's all happening in the shop. In my garage at home, I'm doing it's a track roadster, a 23 track roadster that's being put together to compete for the America's Most Beautiful Roadster title.
Oh, cool.
With that being said, the unfortunate part, I think, is it's an incredible amount of work. Everything's one-off. I mean, everything, which is tough to do sometimes, knowing that you can't win. It's a very political system in that arena, but that's okay. The car will be nice enough. And it's for my dad. It's my thank you to him for everything he's ever done for me, which is, everything. So, I mean, my dad is the reason I'm able to do this sort of work. He taught me how to, weld and machine. And my dad has built some amazing hot rods that have been in, multiple magazines, and he's had cars on TV shows, and he's just a cool guy. He was my crew chief all those years we were racing sprint cars, and anyway, he's my guy. So we're building, I'm building this car, and he knows I'm doing the car. Didn't know it was his, and it's funny because now Ray mentioned before the break The other thing that's cool, like a blower, is like a Hillborn injection.
Right.
And so this car, it's a small block Chevy, nothing very exciting. And there was just a carburetor sitting on it. The car is basically mechanically finished at this point. The throttle return spring setup was something I can't just hang a spring on this car. I built the entire frame from scratch. It's a 23 like T-bucket body basically, but the trunk looks like a 32 sorta, and it's got a track roadster nose on it. The car sits up on top of the frame like a 32 Ford. I made my own frame rails. They follow the contours of the body. It's torsion bar, suspension, front and rear. The bars are hidden inside the frame. All the fuel lines, all the electrical, everything runs inside the frame.
Wow.
It's a complete nightmare, but it looks really good.
Because you have a severe lack of space everywhere in this car.
Yes,
sure.
Everywhere. So, the whole nose is all hand-formed aluminum. I did all that myself.
And it's shaped like a bullet. When you say it's the track nose, it's that old bullet style with the grill in the front that's flush pretty much. Okay.
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool.
Thank you. So, we're doing all this, and I thought, well, I got to do something different for the throttle return spring setup because I can't. And now I'm going to get rid of that whole setup anyway, and it's going to have it'll be EFI, but what looks like, a set of injector stacks, basically.
Ray is doing something similar on the GTO. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll end up making a return spring kit for that, but that's how that's how the whole return spring thing kind of got started, and really the inspiration was I want everything on this car to be like over the top, perfect, because it's for my dad, and that's important to me.
Yeah, that's the way.
So that's actually what started the whole thing.
And that's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
And I have to touch base again with Dave. I haven't spoken to him in a while, but I want to see how the progress on the car is going because a lot of times that stuff kind of lays stagnant. But, yeah.
No, very true. And even though we're not taking any calls, we're still taking those texts. So you can text us at 203-670-4127. So, if we find a couple of places to weave those in during the MotorMouth Radio Extravaganza, the Mother's Day Extravaganza, we could certainly do so.
I'm going to try something different today. I noticed this show now goes up on YouTube on MotorMouth Video, which is, I don't think people can find it, I guess. So I noticed when I'm watching YouTube, I see there's a channel for podcasts. So this becomes a podcast. I'm going to see if I can publish this as a podcast on YouTube today, and we'll see. So, but anyway, let's get to our next bit, Chris. What do we have?
Yes, sounds like a plan. Well, back on July 9th, we chatted a bit about your cruise, the door lock placement. Sometimes Ray and I actually agree on something. And when we get to talking about switchgear placement on modern cars, we find common ground. I had rented a Malibu that Ray compared to his wife's Cruise, which set my co-host off once again. I don't know how I do this, how I've been doing this throughout the year, but I've been doing it. And we're going to check it out right here on the MotorMouth Radio Mother's Day Extravaganza.
I think we're seeing a new trend here, but
I hope so.
Let's see.
I'm like the ergonomic guy because I drive junk. Basically, I like when you sit in the vehicle and all the buttons and all the switches are within some sort of reach.
All right, so let me ask you a question about that because I haven't driven a Malibu, but we do own the Cruise. Where is the door lock and unlock buttons on that car?
They are on where the handle is, in that spot where all the door handles are nowadays, or up in that upper. What would you say if you're looking at the door? Would be the upper right hand corner.
All right, good spot.
There's a door lock button there. Why? Where's yours on the Cruise?
In the stupidest place in the world.
Where?
On the center stack, left side under the radio.
That's where your door lock button is?
Yes. The door lock it on. I don't know why I didn't design the damn thing. I just own a stupid piece of crap. What do I know?
Who knows with you?
I don't know.
Apply buttons and switches.
I always thought from day one, like, there's got to be another one, right? Come on. No, like, what a stupid place. Because you have to use your right hand. It's like, oh, man.
You have to reach in the car to lock the door.
Well, no, I mean, when you're in the car and you're going to leave, you have to remember, like, open the door and then push that button. Yeah, that's what you got to do. You can't do it from outside. Yeah, it's just that's so good. At least they did something better on the Malibu. You're right. And I don't know. Maybe as I have more free time and I'm leading a looser life, inequities and things that are stupid tick me off more. I don't know.
I was thinking about that. I wonder if that car is available in Europe.
Oh, I don't know.
The reason being is because they put the door lock button there. Like, I'm just trying to come up with a theory that because the steering wheel is on the other side, they have to tool for the door lock button on the door on the other side. So instead of doing that, they just use the same 2 door panels, save on tooling, and put the door lock button in the center console, so it doesn't matter which side the steering wheel is on, the door lock button will stay in the same place. I don't know. Going for a big.
The lock button isn't in the console; it's in the center stack. That where the radio is. That's the center stack.
Well,
so
yeah.
The radio to the left is where those buttons. So that could be. Maybe it's a European thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because I've seen and heard of those techniques being done, where they put a lot of those buttons that belong on or should belong on doors or on armrests in the center to save on the tooling or the door panels.
Could be.
Who knows?
Still ticks me off. I don't care. Anyway, we go back to October, and we had our one of our most common recurring guests, Carl Anthony from automoblog.net. He came on and got pulled into the discussion about the various road trips that I was taking since I retired, because now I have time. I can go and do these road trips with friends and whatnot, picking up cars. So, Chris, you played devil's advocate, of course.
Oh.
And much to Carl's dismay, he flipped the script and sided with me in a very poignant way. This is almost like a Dave Hayes thing. I was almost like tearing up listening to his discussion.
And here I am thinking Carl is rational.
Yeah, well, that's up for discussion. So let's hear Carl explain it right now on the MotorMouth Radio Mother's Day Extravaganza.
I'm excited to see where this all goes, Ray.
So,
pictures and the progress and everything. This is pretty cool.
So, Carl, this is why we bring you on sometimes, because Ray has these adventures. His friends have these adventures of driving and cleaning out someone's garage. I'm sure that man watched that truck and trailer go away and went, "Thank God that's gone." I mean, I know, because I sometimes have been that guy. My question to you is, do you think that these 3 individuals need their head examined?
Good question.
Going hundreds of miles into the country to pick up a bag of junk and drag it back so you can sit there and dope it all out and put it all together. Do you think that there are easier ways of going about some of these adventures?
Yeah.
Because I'm literally sitting here saying, y'all need your head examined. Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy. That's what I'm saying.
And it may very well be, but I think that people who love cars and people who love cars to this degree, it's well acknowledged that we're nuts. It's well acknowledged that we're crazy. It's well acknowledged that we'll do things to get that dream car. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
Entire books, Tom Cotter from Motor Books, entire books have been written about this barn find process. Or, Tom Cotter, Motor Books just put out a new book about this 9,000 mile road trip that Tom Cotter took from like the tip of Florida all the way up through Alaska. And it's all beaten path roads. And you have to think that part of it is the fun of road tripping with your friends and being on the open road. There's nothing like being on the open road. Living here in Detroit, when we, go down to Ohio to see friends and family, I love driving the Ohio Turnpike because it's smooth, it's beautiful views. So are we crazy to go however many miles to find a car? and then bring it back in boxes and parts and pieces. Yeah, but I don't think anybody's ever accused car guys of being sane.
Right.
Like,
good point.
I get it. Again, whole books have been written about this. You get out on the road with your friends, especially on a Saturday. You stop and you have breakfast somewhere and get coffee, and you make a memory out of it. And then when that car is done, Ray, you go through and you inventory all the parts and whether how you do the chassis. I know you were talking about that, but when that car is done, and then you've got it at a 4th of July car show downtown on Main Street, and somebody comes up to you and goes, "Wow, beautiful car," then you get to tell them, well, yeah, X number of months or years ago, or however long ago it was, we had this thing in boxes and we took this crazy trip and we'd been talking about it. That's the stuff I think that when you go to those local car shows, that's the stuff people want to know. So, yeah, are we crazy for doing it? Yeah, absolutely. But that's the price of admission for being a car enthusiast.
Yeah, there you go.
Agreed. I can wholeheartedly agree.
And who wholeheartedly agreed at the end? Let's see.
Well, I get the stories. Okay, fine. But you know what? I'm still look, Ray. You were the one that your brother and you decided to go get a Nomad and drive it.
Well, he decided.
Clear. Well, he decided. You went along with him. Well, to drive a Nomad clear across the country. What happened?
Look, he was 25, I was 30. I mean, that's when you do that stuff, Now we get a truck. Right, we got a story out of it because we didn't die. So, and someday, if you ask...
Losing wheels, sliding out of control, becoming a projectile, almost falling into a ravine. Right. I know this story.
Some days, yes. If people want to know and they ask me, I'll tell them about it. But you know what, Chris? We do have to keep with some tradition besides Mother's Day, and it is the bottom of the hour, so we have to do some business. I have to tell you that the WHPC app wants to give you some PDQ chicken, which is fantastic chicken. You download the app and click the Win Stuff button to enter to win that PDQ Beach prize pack. It includes a $25 gift card to PDQ, which is people dedicated to quality, and locations in Westbury and Farmingdale. So download the free HPC app and good luck. And good luck we didn't have with the weather. Today's WHPC weather, which is powered by Pantano's Gourmet locations in Uniondale. It's cloudy with showers today. Maybe it'll clear in the afternoon. High's only going to be in the 50s. Tonight, more passing clouds, low 40s. I was out last night with my car, and it ran great in the cool weather. Oh, it loved that fuel injection. Loves sucking up that cool weather, that cool air. Do you have an honor group today, or are we?
Of course we do.
What do we got?
On the MotorMouth Radio Mother's Day Extravaganza, of course we have the MotorMouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour. And this week, if you spent any time this weekend, if you had to navigate through a Home Depot or Lowe's parking lot around the garden center and survived, if you had to dodge the shopping carts and rolling flat carts covered in potting soil to find a spot a quarter mile away from all the plants and the shrubs that they have out there? Or did you pivot over to Walmart where you had to park on the street because the store turned the entire parking lot into a garden center? Did you have to plod through a crowd of screaming kids, barking dogs, and angry husbands just to pick up a geranium plant? Well, if you are able to withstand the punishing experience of getting in and out of a big box store garden center or even a moderately sized nursery parking lot without completely freaking out, then you were part of the MotorMouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour this Mother's Day.
Excellent. Okay, very good. And I stayed away from that for sure. So
I did.
Do an abbreviated bottom of the hour break so we can get our other clips in and maybe a little talk. And we'll be back with more MotorMouth Radio with Ray Guarino, Chris Switzer on 90.3 WHPC. Keep it where you got it. This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision, with 2 locations in Limerick and Oceanside, who remind you that New York state law says you always have the right to choose which shop will fix your car. CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision offers a full range of services, 24-hour towing between Montauk and Manhattan, shuttle service, and they can help you with a rental car arrangement if needed. All repairs include the CarStar Life lifetime nationwide warranty, ensuring that the experts at Celebrity Chase Collision are always on your side.
Y sí, hablamos español.
More information is available at 516-593-0920 or online at celebritychasecollision.com.
Hey, you, get over here. Every Sunday, 12 to 1, you are going to tune in to hear the MotorMouths, my friends Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. 90.3 FM, WHPC. You might learn something.
Yes, thank you, Johnny. We may learn something. I don't know when it'll be, but maybe someday we will. So,
well, here we are at the undisclosed location, eating chicken and eating fries, and seeing everybody milling in and out of this fine, upstanding establishment, and listening to the MotorMouth Radio Mother's Day Extravaganza. I'm loving it.
I was hanging with the boys in Whitestone last night, Dougie and the crew, and they all said hi. They kind of feel like saw them come down. They're making their sergeant of arm trips around the hall right now, making sure that everything is right. No one's screwing around with nothing. So appreciate them for that.
No one's screwed around with nothing.
No, exactly.
That works out very well.
Why don't you take us into our next bit?
Sounds good. You know, back on November 19th. Pirate Paul, which I have to admit, does like to throw a little landmine in the program every once in a while, and he decided to talk about his weird nuts. Our special teams Black Ops guy, Pirate Paul, needed a special type of nut for a car project, and he called no other than Ray, my upstanding longtime radio colleague, to see if he had one of those weird contraptions. And of course, he did. Check it out on the Extravaganza.
My buddy Kilowatt Kevin was just looking for some of those for his GTO. And I said, you know what? I got these somewhere. So I was going through the various nuts, and I kind of separated them. Well, it gave me a chance to separate them all out. And I took all of those out, all the Mazda nuts out, and separated them by size. I'm like, all right. So I got a handful, of various sizes. But, he needed 4, and I didn't have 4 of that size. But yeah, it's there's some specialty hardware in there that you don't really know.
I like how you said all the Marsden nuts. I didn't have any.
I had a bunch. I had some in with the nuts because I just had, I have a little rotary parts thing, carousel, and there's a wedge in there that's just American nuts, and there's like American bolts, and there's fine and coarse, and so I took my magnet, grabbed them all with the magnet, dumped them on the workbench, and just started doing this.
Started fishing.
Yeah. And
when did you have the time to actually sort those out?
It's between naps and cigar breaks, and leave it to Beaver and go and food shopping. I find time. Yeah. Yes, I do. I do find time for my naps, and I do find time. Like I said, I'll take a nap and wake up at 5 and go out to the garage. When normally regular guys who work, I'm done. No, that's my day starts again. I just get a new beginning.
I'm just amazed because it's like, who has got the time to sort hardware, especially your nuts?
I just sorted brake hardware the other day, all sorts of fittings. I sat there, sent a picture to Brian because we were talking about it on Thursday, and he says, wow, now what are you going to do with them? And I sent him the next picture of me already sorting them into a bin, and he was like, yeah, okay.
So, you know what? I have an open coffee can sitting conveniently by the tool bench, and if I have a nut in my hand, Ray,
which you often do,
and I'm not smiling, I throw it into the coffee can. That's it. And I fill that coffee can with assorted nuts.
Well, I'll tell you what, just like the assorted nut problem that we have, we all have parts drawers or junk drawers or things like that. And in November, actually it was the same day, we talked about that. So regifting is a MotorMouth tradition. And years ago, I had given you, Chris, an old parts drawer dividing cabinet that I had.
Yes.
Because
I have it.
And I'm glad what did I say? I never got, well, little did I know that you'd never get around to relabeling the drawers.
Of course not.
And I'm kind of glad you didn't, because it gave us another great story to talk about here on the air. So let's hear that one right now.
Do you know, I still have the drawers. You gave me those cute little model drawers.
A drawer divider, yeah.
I still have them labeled
Right.
with your labels.
Which is great because you have your stuff in them, which is not the same as what the labels
which is
are.
nothing. I was thinking about this literally this week because I did some work on the cars and I had to go through the drawers. And it's almost like a ritual. I open up every drawer. Dump, plump, 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 plump.
Oh, that's what I do.
Well, you got to know. Let's see. If I need I need a fine nut to open the cotter pin drawer.
Right.
I need a cotter pin. Oh, that's in the razor blade drawer.
Yeah. So I just spend the time, start at the top, bump, 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 look through all the drawers until I find.
At least do two at a time. Yeah, you can grab them. Relabel the damn drawers.
Who's got the time?
The time it took you to open them all 900 times.
I want to know where you found the time.
I tell you what, I label mine and I put in them what's labeled, and I still sit there opening them up.
Now you made the label so small you can't read them.
Oh yeah.
He
What's
did
my
them 30
glasses?
years ago.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
No, Paul, my favorite Ray label on the drawer, I've always mentioned this, is I think he kept razor blades in one, which doesn't have razor blades in it now, but there's a picture of a finger and like there's a chunk taken out of it and there's drips of blood coming off.
I just thought of that the other day, and I think I know who the originator of that was. I think it was our friend Glenn who called last week with the Camaro.
Oh, really?
When Glenn worked for me at the school, I had one of those bins in the work room where we rebuilt electronic stuff, right. And I think he went in there. I had razor blades. I think he drew the finger and did that. I got to double check with him.
After he stabbed himself.
But now I've carried it on. All of my other drawers, I do it to all of them because it's just such an easy thing.
So not only is it labeled, but there is actually a picture for those that can't read English, right. I guess, that happen to glance at this drawer.
Right. It's like Johnny Mnemonic. Right. We do it with symbols, international symbols. And you know what? And I do have my razor blade drawer today does have a finger with a razor blade through it with red drips. So, hey, if it works, you go with it.
I can't even tell you what is in the razor blade drawer with the finger and the drip. I can't tell you what's in there. I know something is in there, but I don't remember what.
Put razor blades in it, and then it'll be correct.
Yeah, and if I do put razor blades in it, it'll be the only drawer that'll be correct because no other drawer has what you have labeled. And yeah, and it's got to the point where I actually have to memorize where things are.
Yeah, but you never remember.
No, of course not. So you spend all that time going bum, 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 going through all those drawers to find whatever cute little thing you're looking for.
Right,
so,
right.
Oh, yeah. So that's how it works here on the MotorMouth Radio Mother's Day Extravaganza. It's hysterical. Are we ready for another one? Oh, by the way, you could still text us. You could still text us 203-670-4127. I had a little problem with the software there, but it seems to be working well now. So can we do another one? We got time.
Please, let's do it.
All righty. So, back on December 12th, we had a very special call from one of our listeners named Ron. And we've heard some wacky stories from our callers, but displaced Long Islander Ron told us a real doozy about his 500-mile trips back home just to buy pizza. He would come here to buy pizza, sausage, and breads and take it back to Utica. And somehow, we don't think he's sharing the goods with his neighbors. I don't think he's sharing the goods with his wife either, but think about it. But let's check it out right here on the MotorMouth Radio Mother's Day Extravaganza, the best bits of 2023 and 2024. Check it out.
So let's go to the phones. Go to the phone, say, hi, you're on with the MotorMouths.
Hey, I got to really disagree with you. Pizza's pizza.
All right, who are we talking to? And where are you now, Ron? Where are you located at?
I'm upstate.
Okay.
I'm upstate. And yesterday, I did a 500-mile round trip for food down to Long Island.
Where'd you go?
Pizza, got the sausage, got the breads.
Yeah, where did you go?
Oh, Umberto's. Umberto's in New Hyde Park.
Very good.
Okay.
See, I like Umberto's in Elmont. I like the one on the corner of Meacham and
King Umberto's. That's the brother. They don't get along.
I know.
Yeah, Umberto's is New Hyde Park.
I use them both. I do. I use them both. But yeah.
And you know what? I've had the pizza, and it's good. So I'm with you.
But it's worth the 500-mile trip.
500-mile trip.
It's 250 miles. I'm outside of Utica, New York. It's about 250 miles down to the Owen.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we left at 5:30 yesterday morning and got home at 8 o'clock last night.
Wow.
With one loaded car of food.
Do you do that? Do you do that every year, Ron?
Twice a year, 2 to 3 times.
Okay.
Good for you.
Unbelievable. You know, I was thinking how where I go to get things, and I went to Whitestone not only for a cruise, but I was for the pizza. Whitestone, the Cascarino's pizza is far and above one of the best I've ever had.
What always cracks me up about this program is that we can throw out something so you would think that no one would ever pick it up, like talking about pizza. Yeah. Like I just made a statement. I said all pizza's the same. It's all the same to me sometimes, unless you're up here in Connecticut. Connecticut pizza is the worst of the worst. But anyway,
literally in Connecticut is the pizza capital. I was there, and I will say, you have to go, and then you'll find.
It's oddly shaped.
It is, and I have
New Haven pizza is oddly shaped.
I have the pictures to prove it. You know what? I'll post this stuff on later on to when I announce the show. You'll see what a Connecticut pizza looks like.
Yeah, and you won't recognize it because it looks like something that someone sat on. But anyway, notwithstanding. But the funny thing is, like, we can mention something. Like, I remember we mentioned something about, like, driving on the southern state. And the phones lit up like crazy. It was just this insanity. So I have to laugh that whenever we throw something out on this program, our listeners are sharp enough to pick it up and take it and run with it. And I love that.
Even the ones who is as sharp as a marble.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll tell you, talk about callers who are on the ball and sharp. Back in December, our good friend and regular caller, Bob from Rockville Center, we have regulars and there are regulars, but he's a pillar of this show and so regular and knowledgeable of the show and what goes on that he names the MotorMouth Radio Person of the Year every year. And he did that on December 3rd, and there's a little caveat, a little trick that entails another caller that plays in. So let's hear Bob explain it.
Gentlemen, happy Sunday.
Hey, Bob, how are you?
Robert.
I'm doing good. Are you guys okay?
Yes, we're fine.
Yep, we're okay so far.
Yeah.
This show's not over yet.
Thanks. So I made a call on MotorMouth Person of the Year.
Oh, already? Wow. Okay.
We're coming down to the wire. Yes. The end of 2023, and we have a MotorMouth Radio Person of the Year. Or almost.
And it's the totality of years of entertainment.
Okay.
It's you.
Not taking away from
that's what I was thinking.
Your providers, the Vegas people, Florida people, your tool guys.
Uh-huh.
They've all been great. But the totality comes down to Tom from Massapequa.
Oh, Tom, yeah. Tom has been a great contributor.
We need a cheering card. Yeah.
What I recognized was, this is probably going to be regretful, but Tom's it. The decision is made.
Okay.
When he said that he was racing Hondas, new guys at the racetrack, and he won, I had recognized that we've only scratched the surface of Tom.
Agreed.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
So he wins.
Okay. Accolades.
Well, I tell you.
As you know, can say I raced a Honda at the track, and not only that, I won. And I know the guys who own the racetrack.
Right. Bob is astute. He does pay attention, I'll tell you that.
So. I love the fact that we have, and I've never heard this before in any other talk show, ones I've been involved with or not involved with. But we have listeners that when one calls, another one goes into the garage to imbibe.
Right.
I think you can't make this up.
Right, Pop's a cold one. And
exactly. I think
that's hear about that in our next bit. Introduce this one, Chris, please.
Yes. Well, of course, Bob from Rockville Center appointed Tom from Massapequa the MotorMouth Radio Person of the Year on December 3rd. Well, on December 24th, the recipient of the 2023 MotorMouth Radio Person of the Year, Tom from Massapequa, called in to respond to his appointment. In true Tom style, he had only good words to say about Bob and our program right here on the MotorMouth Radio Mother's Day Extravaganza. I love the reaction shot. It's just perfect. I wish we had a video of it, but go ahead. Okay. Let's hear it.
Not only that, Tom, did you hear a few weeks ago you were named the MotorMouth Radio Person of the Year?
Yes, you were.
No, what?
You were named the MotorMouth Radio Person of the Year by Bob from Rockville Center. He does it every year, and this year he chose you.
He chose you.
Oh, my God. Bob, I got to tell you, Ray, on the side, if you could text me, I don't have his number. I'd like to connect with him.
I would, too. I invited him to come in and do a show with us. So I don't have his number either, though, Tom. I'm sorry.
Bob's a good guy. You know, he came that day we worked on my Cadillac.
That's right.
He showed up to introduce himself.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah, he's a faithful listener, man. We should. I got to tell you, you guys should do some honor of him. He drinks a lot of beer after I call in.
Yes. Well, I tell you what, I think what you got to do is you got to throw the party at your house, and I'll come to it, and I'll make sure that Bob comes too.
I'll come right down. No problem. I'll on the train.
There you go.
All right, you know what? We're going to work something out. I got to tell you, maybe we'll go to my son's house and he'll smoke some ribs or something.
Oh, very good. Ooh, sounds good, Tom.
All right, guys.
All right, thank you.
Be well. Be well. I'm glad that you what you guys do. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Tom. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom. Always a pleasure. Have a great holiday.
Yes. It's that's the one thing, Chris, that we've been blessed with. We don't have thousands or millions of listeners and hits, but the ones we have are really true. They're true blue. They're here for the right reason. They have to be if they keep coming back. I mean, who else, right? Who wouldn't come back? So.
They have rotten taste in radio shows.
Absolutely. So that was the other half of that story, which was truly, inspirational.
I think it's hysterical. Bob from Rockville Center not only has a unique spin on some of our listeners, but also appoints, that's all him. He appoints the MotorMouth Radio Person of the Year. And I think that's hysterical. To me, you can't make it up. You can't make it up.
And Tom is maybe in for a surprise because, like I said, when he called a few weeks ago, we talked about that. We had Brian on. And I said, hey, Brian may want to take a ride up for that barbecue too. And Tom said, sure, we'll do it. And he doesn't know what he's in for. Brian could have hurting on those ribs without much effort. So
I'm sure Brian knows how to pack them away.
I hope it comes off. I really do. I hope that because that would be like our 10th anniversary. We had our anniversary party at Freeport Auto Wrecking, the junkyard.
Yes.
Who has a party at a junkyard with a live band and with food and car crushing going on?
Tom was there.
And Tom was there.
Yes, I remember seeing him.
I think the barbecue would be a very nice adjunct to that 10-year anniversary. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, stay tuned.
So this is now our last bit. Hey, it actually timed out pretty good, Chris.
I think you're right. I think we're going to stick with this routine for the next Mother's Day extravaganza.
The air date was December 3rd, same as Bob's call. And with the cold weather being upon us, I mentioned a soothing product that I've been using for many years on my cracked hands and cuticles. And of course, my co-host Chris, he finds a way to stretch out the explanation and make it just a little more suggestive than it really was. So, well, why not play along, right?
Well, you only gave us half of that description.
Okay, well, let's hear it, and we'll go from there. Here we go. So I got to tell you, it's, of course, things are ramping up, seasons are changing, there's all sorts of stuff going on. And I'm going to tell you what my holiday mantra is. 'Tis the season for crack cream. That's right. You heard it right. 'Tis the season for crack cream.
Are you putting cream on your crack?
I am. And I'll tell you, and we've talked about this before.
Now you got my attention.
Well, as I make a note, because I'll put a picture.
Don't demonstrate. We're recording.
I'll put a picture of this up on our feed later, that the post that I make, so you can check it out on X or on Instagram or Facebook.
I don't want to see. I don't mind you talking about
this finger.
I don't want to see pictures of it.
You see this finger? Do you see this finger right here? This one finger, right here.
Look at that finger.
Well, right over here by this cuticle.
Ooh.
Always in the winter, it cracks. The cuticle cracks, and it hurts. It really hurts.
You're in incredible pain.
So thankfully to my
thank God you didn't reach for your pants.
No, and thankfully to my mom years ago had given me this stuff. I swear to God, I was like, she says, "Look, I'll get you this stuff. It works. You got to use it," because I would get cracked cuticles and they would hurt in the winter. And a lot of guys that work with solvents and things in the winter, that happens to.
Of course.
So she handed me this bottle of this stuff called Zim's Crack Cream.
Yes.
I was like, Ma, where the heck did you get that? And I was like, oh, Rite Aid. I
have seen it.
And it's like a glycerin. It's an amber colored, looks like glycerin. And you just put a drop of it on those cracked cuticles, blow on it, let it dry, and it helps heal it. And it gives, and now it doesn't hurt now. I put it on this morning before I left. So my crack has been creamed, and I am feeling very nice right now, thanks to Zim's. This is not a product endorsement. We don't get any money or cream filler from Zim's, but
God forbid.
And I've had this one bottle now for over 10 years, maybe more, and because you use like a half a drop each time, so you don't use a lot of it.
Well, nothing says love like your mom fixing your crack.
You know what? I tell you, it is very true. Yeah, well, there's the extra little addendum there, and I'll tell you something. You know what? Just to tie something in here, I got I'm looking at Instagram the other day, and what do I see but a picture? And I'm like, hey, I took that picture. It was a picture of spark plug boxes and plugs and my torque wrench on my workbench, and it was posted by AC Delco.
What?
And I remember about a year ago when I posted that.
Right.
AC Delco got in touch with me and said, hey, would you be okay with us using your picture in future posts as we find, fit to advertise?
That's awesome.
So I said, yeah, absolutely. Use it. Go on, right ahead. I think a few people I've said okay to. So now I see it, and I made a comment and said, hey, guys, thanks for using my picture. I think that's pretty cool. And, I will continue to use your product because I believe in it. I love AC Delco. So they got back to me and said, listen, send us your contact information, your address, and we want to send you some merch.
Nice.
So, of course, I'm hoping for a case of spark plugs.
Right.
I'm going to get a hat, So
yeah, T-shirt. That's it.
When that comes in, I'll share it with everybody on the group. Let you all know what happened. But
yeah, I would love to know what they eventually send to you.
That's the way things go in this, in this social media, in the world that we live in. So.
Very true, very true. But I was so glad that your mom was able to suggest to fix your crack. Yeah. And I do remember Zim's Crack Cream because I used to work at a pharmacy when I was a young man, when I was a teenager.
Wow, it's that old, huh?
And, yeah, and I do remember it. And I'm so glad you're walking better now.
Yeah, And I tell you, this stuff, like I said, not a product endorsement. That stuff just plain works. So.
And that is why we do this show, is just to celebrate our moms, because some moms take care of us, some moms fix our crack.
Right.
And it's just basically we like to play the best bits of the year gone by and the year now up until now. And mostly it's just a celebration of our mothers and who they were and how they raised us, and for the ones that for the mothers that didn't talk down at us for suggesting that we do a mediocre radio program.
Yeah.
That didn't support the fact that we would be replaced by some obscure gardening show. Right. or the ones that support the listeners that listen to this program.
Right. And and for our current, if you're married, your spouse, your wife, if you have kids, the mother of your kids, we celebrate them too, because they're also mothers and they have a big role in our lives, and we celebrate them all. And I tell you what, coming back next week, we may be celebrating with some good friends. I'm going to put it together and see what's happening. We may have Carl Anthony back with us, and MatcoMan Brian, to talk about a very specific topic that Brian brought up to me. And he was so serious about it, I said, boy, I better pay attention, because he's not joking. He's serious.
Yes, this is something close to his heart, and I'm looking forward to it.
If he has a pacemaker, it'll be close to his heart. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think he does. So that'll be next week. So listen, we're going to get out of here. Kim is here. All of the Thunder Road fans are happy that we're not on for another hour this week, so we won't get any more hate mail. So let's switch over. We'll close the doors to the
Yes, it was a great party, great crowd, as
Right.
always. It was a great party.
And
Had a
Chris,
good time.
what do we say to the people waiting for both of us out in that parking lot today?
I'd like to coin a statement from my friend Benny back in Brooklyn, New York, standing on the street corner, who said, "Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there."
And don't follow us home.
And don't follow us home, and kiss your mom.
Right. All right. So we'll be back next week. More MotorMouth Radio. Ray Guarino, Chris Switzer. Thanks for hanging with us with the Mother's Day Extravaganza. We'll see you next week. Chris?
See you, bye.
All right. WHBC 90.3, over and out. Bye-bye.